ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾನು ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಎ ಕಲಾವತಿ ಕಾಮತ್, ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಮಹಿಳಾ ಪಾಲಿಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಮಂಗಳೂರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರಂಥಾಲಯ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ವಿಭಾಗ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಶ್ರೇಣಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಈಗ ಈ ವಿಡಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಪ್ಲೊಮಾ ಇನ್ ಲೈಬ್ರರಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಕೋರ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಬ್ರರೀಸ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲೈಬ್ರರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ಏನ್ಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೀಡಿವಲ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಈ ವಿಷಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಚ್ಛೆ ಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಈಗ ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್. ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್ the cradle of one of the earliest civilization in the world. There is a fact, no country where the love of learning has so early an origin or has exercised so lasting an influence. The importance of libraries in academic institutions was therefore recognized in India even in the remote past. In the Vedic age, instructions were imparted orally without the medium of books, and are perhaps the reason that no libraries have so far been discovered in the archaeological excavations at Takshila, though it was a famous seat of learning from 700 BC to 300 AD. With the advent of Buddhism, teaching came to be practiced through the written word, and this in turn gave rise to libraries. Fahien noticed such libraries at the Jetavana monastery at Shravasti, Uttar Pradesh. The Nalanda University in Bihar, 300 to 850 AD, had a huge library complex known as Dharmaganj, Jagadal, Kanheri, Mithila, Odantapuri, Somapuri, Ujjain, Vallabhi, and Vikramashila were the other seats of learning which had good collections of manuscripts in the libraries attached to them. All these libraries were destroyed at one time or the other by fire or Muslim iconoclasts, often in ignorance. Libraries in medieval India. The existence of academic libraries during the medieval period of Indian history is not known, though the Muslim rulers did patronize libraries in their own places. However, a library was attached to a college at Bidar, having a collection of 3,000 books on different subjects. Aurangzeb got this library transferred to Delhi to merge it with his palace library. Medieval libraries are studied as collections of books, but much less frequently as collections of ideas. They are somewhat neglected by literary scholars who tend to define the parameters of their studies in terms of authors, genres, themes, traditions, or movements rather than library collections. Such critics are interested in where individual texts come from or where they go, and much less in which texts were gathered together in libraries and thus made sense together. Studies have increased awareness of the intertextuality of medieval literature, especially of the interplay between literature and philosophy in the later Middle Ages. Medieval literary texts were, of course, in a dialogue with the other source of knowledge, but the potential for using popular literacy literary texts, the inevitable of a medieval. In India, since the ancient time, a library has been functioning lighthouse for those who wanted to read and to extend the boundaries of various disciplines. The great Indian universities like Nalanda, Takshashila 600 BC, and Vikramashila had massive collections of rare books in their libraries. Hujan Sang, the Chinese traveler, is known to have visited the library at Nalanda in the 7th century. This great library was completely destroyed by Bakhtiyar Khilji, who invaded India during 1205 AD. The advent of a Muslim rule during the 13th century marked the dawn of another era of learning and scholarship. They established many academic institutions, and it was found that a well known library was established by Jalal Din Jalaluddin Khilji at Delhi. Royal and pompous libraries were set up by the Mughal Emperor Humayun at Agra fort with the Lal Beg as a librarian. The earliest libraries that survived are the Tanjavur Maharaja Sarfoji's Saraswati Mahal library, which had a collection of about 43,000 manuscripts. It was started around 1535 AD by Telugu Nayakas who ruled Tanjavur in the 16th century. Khud Baksh Library at Patna is another oldest library which dates back to 1876 and is still flourishing. Khan Bahadur Baksh Khan, at the time of his death, left a collection of 1,500 manuscripts, which become the nucleus of the library. His son Maulana Khud Baksh Khan developed this library. Consequent to the Act of 1969, this library was known as Nud Baksh Oriental Public Library. The ancient and medieval libraries are Nalanda, Vallabhi, Vikramashila, and Nagarjuna, and Chetti Kalasala. Now, the Nalanda, as in most cases, even in India, the public reciters preceded the written book by several centuries. Writing started rather too late, and the antiquarians believe that it was introduced not earlier than 1000 BC, of which there is, of course, no sufficient record. Libraries naturally were set up still later. When writing became common, books were written on such materials as stone, metal, brick bark, palm leaf, and sachi leaf. And these manuscripts were preserved in libraries, then called Bagdevi Bhandar, attached to temples, monasteries, and the house of the nobles. No positive record testifying to the existence of libraries prior to 400 AD is, however, available. Of the libraries of the Buddhist era, the oldest and the most famous was that of the University of Nalanda. The library of this university contained true copies of Buddhist sacred text and commentaries. It also contained non-Buddhist literature like the Vedas, Sankhya system of philosophy, technology, philology, astrology, agriculture, medicine, etc. It is known from the accounts of the Chinese travelers and pilgrims that a large area was apportioned for the library of this university, and this area was known as library quarter or dharma ganja. Most of the library buildings were multi-stored. Three were particularly famous: Ratna Sagar, Ratna Dadhi, Ratna Ranjaka. This library was indeed the pride of India, which drew scholars and medicants from far off countries like Ceylon, China, Tibet, Burma, Thailand, and others. The books in this library were arranged either on shelves made of stones or of brick and mortar. The library, along with its parent body, the famous monastery, was laid to waste as a result of the Turkish invasion under Bakhtiyar Khilji in the 13th century. The former being completely gutted in fire during this inhuman ravage and carnage, leading to an irreparable loss of a great Indian inheritance of human culture. This is the Nalanda University libraries. The ancient Nalanda University libraries made by stone, and the books are arranged in beautiful. Then now Vallabhi, Vikramashila, and Nagarjuna libraries. Libraries in ancient and early medieval India were an essential the the centers of higher education. We find the evidence of the existence of rich libraries in such higher centers of learning in ancient and early medieval India as Vallabhi in Saurashtra in the 7th century AD. Vikramashila in central India in the 12th century AD. Takshila in the old province of Gandhara, now in West Punjab, Pakistan, in the 3rd century AD, and the Nagarjuna on the bank of Krishna in the southern India in the 7th century AD, and so on. Of these libraries, the libraries of Vallabhi in Kathiawar was as important as that of Nalanda. Among the ruins of this great seat of learning, 32 copper plates containing royal edicts and land grants have been found out, which clearly indicates that copper was used for a writing purpose in those days. It is further said that the entire expenses of this great institutions and its library were borne by the Maitraka kings right up to 750 AD. In era 600 AD to 1200 AD. This ancient Indian university was situated in Vallabhi, modern day Bhavnagar, in western India. Like other universities of that point, Vallabhi also benefited from royal endowments. The Maitrak dynasty helped in building its infrastructure. By the mid 7th century, Vallabhi had become famous for teaching Buddhist philosophy and Vedic sciences. The other main subjects taught at the university were statesmanship, economics, bookkeeping, business, and agriculture. The university functioned until 12th century, deposit being at the center of the Arab invasions around late 8th century. It is often deduced that the attacks weakened the influence of patron kings and their financial ability to support the good institution. The role Vikramashila in the spread of education and in the diffusion of culture was equally great. Though its exact location is not known, it is presumed that it must have been situated somewhere near modern Bhagalpur. The library of this great Buddhist monastery contained a rich and wide collection of manuscripts written in both Sanskrit and Pali. This great Buddhist center of education, with its rich library, like other sister institutions of the time, met with the same inglorious fate at the hands of the Muslim invader Bakhtiyar Khilji in 1203 AD. So far as the South was concerned, it did not also lag far behind the great race of ancient Indian culture, the evidence of which has been borne out by the revealing made at Amaravati and Nagarjuna Konda in Andhra Pradesh. These revealing have led to the discovery of the relics of a great Buddhist centers of culture. The Nagarjuna Vidyapita, named after its illustrious founder Nagarjuna, a 7th century scientist and Buddhist scholar who also founded the school of Mahayana Buddhism. The library of this university was housed on the top floor on its five-story building named Parvata Vihara, and its collection comprised a wide range of subjects from the Tripitikas and other Buddhist scriptures to such useful arts as a chemistry, botany, mineralogy, medicine, geography, and so on. Era 600 AD, named after a famous Buddhist philosopher, Nagarjuna Vidyapita was situated in South India on the banks of the river Krishna. Archaeological evidence suggests that the university and its library flourished within the 7th century. Its library, housed on the highest floor of the five-story building, had a huge collection books and scriptures on Buddhist philosophy, science, and medicine. The enormity of the gathering is borne out by the very fact that it not only had works on the Buddhist literature, but also on several branches of knowledge domain such as botany, geography, mineralogy, and medicine. It was an excellent attraction for scholars from other ancient Indian universities and other countries like China, Burma, and Ceylon too. This is the Vallabhi Ancient Library. Then this one is the Vikramashila, the ancient and medieval library, Vikramashila. And this is the Nagarjuna University Library. And then last one, Chatti Kalasala. We also get evidence of the existence of libraries in India in 1050 BC during the reign of the Chalukya king Raya Narayana. From the records of the Hyderabad Archaeological Survey, Madhusudana, a famous general of the time, founded a public institution named Chatti Kalasala, which had as many as 6 big libraries. All these clearly prove that libraries played a very important role in the cultural life of India, both in her ancient and medieval periods. Thank you.